What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel or TV. So we're going to discuss again another Pioneer deck archetype in which I'm barely familiar because of the Thursday standard, in which this the deck's main strategy and mechanic came from. So with that list, we're checking on Mono Green Devotion or Devotion to Green. So this deck list was by Dragunov and was played at the MTGO preliminary last July 29th. So if you look on a quick view of the visual view of the deck, you will see that basically you go with ramping up with the creatures and put up as many creatures with that benefits from devotion as much as possible. So we're going to check again what the devotion mechanic is by checking on the land that basically has its origin. So Nictus Shrine to Nyx, it is from Theros, legendary land, paid tap to produce colorless, but its main ability that will basically benefit the deck is when you pay 2 colorless in the top, choose a color, add amount of mana of that color equal to the number of your devotion to that color. So it describes here that your devotion to color is the number of mana symbols of that color in the mana cost of permanents you control. So if you notice the rest of the list, you'll have several creatures that has mainly devotion to green setup. Example here is Old Growth Troll. So you can see 3 green mana symbols in its mana cost. It's a 3 to cast for 4. Its benefits, and it's still standard legal at the moment from Kaldheim. Along with it, we also have 4 copies of Cavalier of Thorns. So it's 2 mana cost, colorless or any mana, and then 3 mana symbol for green. So it's a 5/6 for 5. So it has a reach. It enters the battlefield. You can reveal the top 5 cards of the library and you put a land card from among them to the battlefield and the rest in the graveyard. So when it dies, you may exile it. If you do, put another target card from your graveyard to the top of your library. So basically reclaiming another card, whether it's a creature or a land or any planeswalker that you may need for the matchup. So if you look again, your mana dudes are your Elves Mystics, 4 copies, Landway Elves, also 4. You have 2 Sylvan Caryatids, and along with it, we have also Willow Haven, a sort of a mana sink on its own, but it reduces additional mana for your enchanted land. And at the same time, if needed in the late game, you may pay 5 to sacrifice it, and you create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, which can only be activated during your turn. Also, along with it, we have sort of a scry for a land or a creature. We have Autumn Nisa. So look at the top 3 cards in the library, reveal a creature, land, or planeswalker. So basically digging up not only creature but planeswalkers. And then you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast planeswalker spells. So if you look at our planeswalker lineup here, we have 4 copies of Kiora. Since Kiora is from War of the Spark, the Behemoth Beaconer is sort of making sure that your Nictus is maximized by having her -1 ability to untap target permanent, and at the same time it has a static ability wherein whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. So also a free card draw on its own, and at the same time making sure that your Nictus produces another batch of mana again by its ability of making it untap for the turn. So 4 copies of this again, and we also have 4 copies of Karn, the Great Creator. So this is another card from War of the Spark. So for starting relative 5, we have ability of +1. Put up to 1 target creature refract becomes an refract creature with power toughness each equal to its mana value. And then you may reveal an artifact card from your own from outside the game, and choose a face-up artifact card in your own exile, and then put that card into your hand. At the same time, it has a passive ability of activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can be activated. So with the variants of, as mentioned earlier, the Troll and the Cavalier of Thorns, we also have 4 copies of Storm the Festival. This is basically the green version, a higher version of Collected Company. So look at the top 5 library. You may put up to 2 permanent cards with mana value 5 or less from among them to the battlefield, and put the rest to the bottom and then the order. With also with a flashback of 10 mana, you can basically play this again for another go. And given that it's still, even if it has high mana cost, no worries because of the ramp of Nyctus. You can basically pay it for its flashback at any turn in the late game or mid game if given the right composition to ramp up your mana and given the devotion for Nyctus of green mana cost. So basically you can choose basically or creatures to put up threats, more planeswalkers if needed, and also I'd like the mention the lone copy of Pulukaranos, wherein you can basically sort of a spot removal here because of its monstrosity X, which is a good mana sink for your devotion to green. So when it gets monstrous, it deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures your opponents control. Then each of those creatures deal damage equal to the power to Pulukaranos. So given, you can basically kill off many creature boards such as from that of aggro and any other aggressive start from opponents by making sure that you can get this monstrous ability activated. So overall, the rest of the lineup is basically basic with Pusiju, 13 Forest, and 2 Lair of the Hydras. We can count the total mana as 21 with the 1 Overgrown Tome as a splash, maybe a splash for this. So we're going to check for the sideboard. That's basically it, but I think this is the main reason why there's black. We have a artifact from 6-7, the Pestilent Cauldron. What's ability? Discard a card, get a 1 black pest. Then exponent mills card equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. Then pay 4, tap, exile 4 target cards from single graveyard. Okay, so this is basically an anti-graveyard shenanigan. And at the same time, there is a restorative burst opposite copy. So it's a 5 to cast sorcery. Return up to 2 target creature, land, and or planeswalker cards from graveyard to your hand. And its player gains 4 life and exile. Okay, this will all gas in the late game. So if you're going to check by the basic sideboarding, it goes around exiling graveyards with turn modes, pitting needle to specific planeswalker that may not be able to activate their ability. We also have dumping spear against maybe Tron. I'm not sure. Maybe this is against Lotus Field decks. K and Storm decks also, because of each player may cast 1 more for each cast each other spell that was played this turn. Then we also have Skylasher for blue spirits. Can reach out protection from blue, can block basically spirits with evasion, or maybe as well as aggro. You can also have Voracious Hydra against other aggro decks or creature decks, wherein when it enters the battlefield for X, you can have it fight target creature you control. And some utility cards such as Miniature Golem. This is given also. Miniature Golem, Godpharaoh statue, making sure the opponent spells 2 more to cast, and also a vehicle to equip, to crew with the Sky Sovereign. We can also deal 3 damage to a creature or planeswalker. And we also have Golos, maybe for ramping up, and I'm not sure how they make this one-offs. And Chainveil also as a utility artifact for this. So overall, sideboarding might be very tricky for this, but given that these are possible targets for Stormtree Festival, since they are 5 mana or less, so these are their options, along also with several matchup specific cards which you can just combine on how you will make the deck deliver to its optimized value in post sideboarded games. So overall, this is your devotion deck tech for Pioneer. As you can see in the results, they are basically one of the popular builds here. Also, we also have 2 other persons that are piloting this deck in this setup, so that makes it one of the top tier decks that are chosen for this format. And maybe if in our local card pool, we might be able to check on this and maybe build our own version, since in the past Terra Standard we were able to build the Monogreen Devotion deck. So I think some of our components are still there, and maybe we'll just buy off some of the new cards, such as this from Kaldheim, and maybe adding Storm the Festival for our lineup. So that's about it. Devotion to Green Pioneer deck tech and deck discussion. If you like this video, you can just like and subscribe for more MTG content and future Pioneer related deck techs, and maybe coverage of our local Friday night Pioneer tournament. Thank you for watching on this video, and until the next time.